Hi, my name is Joseph Alai. Welcome to my channel. And today I want to talk about how to know for a fact that your imaginal act is going to give you what you want, opposed to just placing you there, or instead of temporarily giving you what you want. How can you be specific in your imaginal acts, in your act of manifesting, in order to deliberately and 100% verify every single time that you're going to get it? The reason I bring this up is because oftentimes I get questions from my clients, such as one of them I got recently was, okay, I want to move somewhere. Well, if I imagine that I'm there, how is my imagination going to know that I want to move there, opposed to actually just visiting there? And also with a specific person, how is it accurate enough to know that I want to be married, opposed to just, wearing a ring or just being with that person? And so those are the questions that I'm asked time and time again, and they're very accurate. They're valid questions. And so I want to deliberately explain to you how, by the fundamentals of manifesting, that this makes sense, how to apply specific techniques to your manifesting so that you know that you're doing it right. So first of all, if you haven't already, definitely subscribe to this channel. Every other day, generally, I'm posting a video on exactly how to, in a systematic way, laser focused, manifest your desire every single time. So let's jump right into it. So the question at hand is, what do I need to do in order to verify that I'm imagining the right way? What types of things am I supposed to embody in my imagination, or what techniques can I use with to provide the accuracy and intelligence that my manifestation is going to come to me in the way that I want it to come to me? And so I would like to start off by explaining first and foremost, and I mentioned this in other videos, but in a specific manner, every aspect of our imagination in and of itself is a creative factor that, if used alone, will manifest the thing into reality. Now, when we activate or take the action of imagining something, whether we're using visualization or hearing someone's voice or writing something down, those in and of itself or themselves will take a snapshot of the time and space when that imaginal act is taking place in your mind, and it will replicate it, plant a seed, and then manifest it in your world. And so your world is woven together by these snapshots that you're continuously creating by impressing your subconscious mind. But in each of those specifically, as I said, and this is a very important thing, every single one of the aspects, such as feeling, visualization, hearing, touch, taste, emotion, these, if used alone, will produce a result. When we use our imagination, we are going to a time in space, whether it be in the past, in the future, or even right now. And we're going there and we're impressing that on the subconscious mind. Now, when we go into the future, for instance, and we're going to experience the thing that we want, such as our marriage or a vacation or a new home or wealth, the thing that is important to understand is that when we go there, we should be acting as if it's happening now. Now, that's in the imagination. We are acting as if. The imagination has the power to overlay or replace the awareness, our actual sensations. And so therefore, the subconscious mind does not know the difference between outside and the imagination. And this is really important because whatever it is that is impressed on the subconscious will be manifested. So generally, when we are just living in this world, say we were not even imagining whatsoever, whatever is external the only filter will be through our perception, which means our beliefs and assumptions, and then it hits the subconscious. But when we replace that entirely with the imagination and we can create these fictitious scenes, then those will be impressed and then manifested outward. And that's the process of manifesting. So when it comes to being accurate with the manifestation, if you want to be sure that you're doing it the right way, the idea here is to combine different facets of the imagination, and that will allow for accuracy. Whereas, for example, if you are imagining with your eyes closed and you're just visualizing, right? And I isolate visualization because that's what's commonly thought of as the imagination. But When we are visualizing something, if we're only seeing it, for instance, then that is one level of specificity. That is something that is impressed on the subconscious, but it's only sight. But the thing is as I said before, and you can test this and you'll prove it every time, is that whatever we imagine, it must exactly be expressed in the likeness that we experienced it in our imagination. It will be expressed outward in my experience or in your experience, depending on who's imagining it. If I'm imagining it, then it's going to be expressed to me in the exact likeness that I've imagined it. If you're imagining it, whatever you're imagining in the exact likeness will be expressed outward and brought back to you, so you will experience it. So when it comes now to the question, combining these, what do I mean by that? So this is what I mean by that. So I want to give a story explaining this. So there was a time years ago when I was still figuring out the ins and outs of manifesting, that in my imagination, I imagined that I was holding $100 bill. And the intention here was that I had this $100 bill in my hand, and so therefore that would mean that I own a $100 bill. And so in my imagination, I visualized, and I only used visualization because that was what I thought was the only thing required to manifest. And I had that in my hand, and I looked down at it, and I saw it, and I studied it. But then it was a couple of days later, I was at my father's house, and on the table was a $100 bill, and I picked it up, and after I picked it up, I realized that my manifestation had come to pass. So, but it wasn't my $100 bill. So what was the problem here? The problem was that I did not add any type of specificity in proving that this $100 bill was mine. Now, I'll give you an example of what would work much better. So if instead, in my imagination, I held that $100 bill, and then I was thinking to myself, I'm so grateful that I have received this $100 bill. Or if I had felt the feeling or emotions of having received this $100 bill, then it will become much more accurate and it will manifest on the screen of space. Now, this is the way in which I manifest every single time now. I never specifically isolate one aspect of my imagination. I combine multiple of them depending on what it is that I want. And oftentimes when I just use words, what happens is it makes it general and specific at the same time. So I know if in my mind I'm thinking, I'm so grateful to have received a job, which is what I've done before. I've gotten the job. I'm so grateful to have been in Denver when I won that, when I got to the Denver vacation. That was another thing. But using words in the mind is extremely powerful. And I want to make another thing very clear. So the more accurate we make a scene, the more has to be fulfilled when we manifest it. So for instance, if I was to say, imagine myself in a mansion somewhere, and I mapped out the exact mansion, and I was even thinking to myself, I'm so grateful that I've got this mansion, and I'm so grateful that it has 20 bedrooms and 2 swimming pools and a basketball court and a manifesting study room. What's going to happen there, if I successfully impress that upon the subconscious mind, now that must manifest. Now, is that a problem? No, it's absolutely still going to manifest. But the thing is that it's extremely specific in nature. So now some dimension is going to have to be grabbed, or something is going to have to happen for me to specifically go to the place where that thing exists. And at the same time, many different things are going to have to work together in order for me to get there. And what if that exact mansion exists on the other side of the world? What if it has to be built and it doesn't even exist yet? I will still receive the manifestation, but because of the amount of specificity, there's a longer process to obtain it. Now, that longer doesn't mean harder, because all imaginal acts come to pass. But another option here is, if I know what I want, and if you've been watching my videos and you've seen me talk about the journaling and writing things down, a list of 5, 10, 15, 20 different things as if you already have it, we're just writing words here. Like I receive a free cup of coffee. An old friend messages me. Now take that snapshot of an old friend messages me, opposed to going on the internet or in my imagination, picking a specific person and then saying that they want to message me, or that say that they've messaged me. There's an entirely different realm of possibilities here. Now, it's not that it becomes harder or more impossible. It's just that if the more specific I am, the more targeted it is, and then the more gears have to work for that one specific thing to present itself to me. Whereas when I write, like I do this all the time. An old friend messages me. Today I had 2 people from middle school who I forgot about entirely reached out to me on Facebook. It had nothing to do with my channel. They just felt the urge. 3, they felt the urge to reach out to me. But if I had specified exactly what it was or what medium it was, like I held up a phone or a text message, then different objectives would have to be accomplished in order for that to happen. So the idea here is to be as specific and as general as you possibly can. For instance, if you want to go and celebrate your 1-year anniversary, then what I would recommend is do it somewhere in a public place so that you're not tying in multiple things, so that you make it as general and specific at the same time, so that it's the fastest, easiest way, right? Because if I said this, if I said, I found a $100 bill on the ground versus I find a 1974 D series $100 bill on the ground, now there are many less possibilities of this happening, and so it could take a longer time for it to fulfill. And so that's the way that I do this. I combine multiple facets of my imagination to be specific, but I also leave the unimportant things up to generality so that they can be filled in the blank, because in our imagination is power and wisdom. That means the power is to get us what we want, but the wisdom is to get it to us in a genius way, a way of infinite intelligence, that all blanks will be filled in and it will come in the best way humanly possible, or not even humanly possible, the best way possible. And so if I were to tell you right now to do something, I would say, okay, if you wanted to manifest $1 million, or if you wanted to manifest freedom from poverty, or to be with a specific person, what I would say is define the criteria that are crucial. Define the criteria that are crucial. And when you bring this scene into your imagination, you focus on the things that are crucial and allow the others to essentially be whatever they want to be. Because think about it, right now as you're watching me on a screen, but the things around you, you're barely paying attention to. If you look to your left and your right now, you weren't paying attention to it a few minutes ago. And so to bring those into the imaginal act, or to write those specific things down, makes it more accurate for no reason. So allow to be some variable and focus on the specifics so that you can make sure you get what you want in the fastest, easiest way. And so if you want to know more about this, definitely check out the video that I'm going to give on assumptions and also on imagining. So thank you for watching. Definitely subscribe. Stay tuned for more. Thank you.